Welcome to the Find My New Life podcast. I'm Christopher Lapine, spiritual liberation author and speaker. This podcast brings you inspiration, hope, and answers for how to live a modern, God-centered spiritual life. It will help you have a more direct, deeper experience of God, find more happiness, and live your incredible God-given destiny. You can find all my podcasts, as well as videos, books, and more at findmynewlife.com. So, let's get started with today's show. Hello, welcome. I'm Christopher Lapine. Today, you're going to get a taste of many quotations from this new revelation about Jesus by the angels. You're going to hear quotes about Jesus by the angels, and you're going to hear quotes directly from Jesus as quoted by the angels. After this podcast, you're going to be able to access this 777-page amazing revelation, groundbreaking revelation. Actually, there are over 1 million copies of this revelation in the world today, and you're going to learn about it. Let's face it, we all need reliable and expanded truth. We need someone we can look up to. And the person that is looked up to most in this world, and that even crosses many religions, is Jesus. And we need someone we can follow with complete confidence and trust in a world where it just seems everything's falling apart. And indeed, I think it is. Many times you can't trust some people. You can't trust institutions. It's just, we've got unbelievable challenges. And really, what we need most of all is a perfect, loving example with teachings to show us the way, someone we can totally trust. So this is your quest, your life. If you have that hunger for Jesus, which I think you do because you maybe wouldn't be watching this podcast, please remember that whatever your search is, whatever you decide, it's up to you. Just please, I ask you to keep an open mind, listen to what I have to say today, but please remember, no one has the right to tell you what to think. No one has the right to tell you what to do or attempt to interfere with your relationship with God or to interpret that for you. No one has the right to tell you what to believe. No one has the right to judge you. And that certainly goes most of all with your spiritual life. So my only purpose here today is to offer something to you and give you a chance to judge it for yourself. And as I said in the first podcast, it's the privilege of my life to do this. So if you have an open mind and that strong desire to find more truth about Jesus, join me today. Now, let's get right into it without more preamble. We're going to get right into a series of quotations. I'm going to read you a series of quotes from the angels about Jesus. They're talking about Jesus. I will pause between each of them, and I am not going to make any commentary on these quotes. Now, in later podcasts, I might talk a little bit, but I'm going to read you these quotes today just so you can get a taste for this and enjoy this. And then I'll read a whole series of quotes, direct quotations from Jesus. You may never have heard these before, probably not. But I assure you, you'll be intrigued and inspired by these quotations. And after the podcast, I'm going to give you a way to find this revelation, access it yourself, and also there is a wonderful introduction to this revelation specifically about the life of Jesus. A short little podcast film I'm going to put at the end of this. It's about 7 minutes long. So after this podcast today, be sure to watch the next video in this sequence. So let's get started. Quotes about Jesus from the angels. Here we go. Jesus not only revealed God to man, but he also made a new revelation of man to himself and to other men. In the life of Jesus, you see man at his best. Man thus becomes so beautifully real because Jesus had so much of God in his life. And the realization, recognition of God is inalienable and constitutive in all men. Next quote. The religion of Jesus is the most dynamic influence ever to activate the human race. Jesus shattered tradition, destroyed dogma, and called mankind to the achievement of its highest ideals in time and eternity, to be perfect, even as the Father in heaven is perfect. Next quote. Jesus portrayed the profound surety of a God-knowing mortal when he said, "To a God-knowing kingdom believer, what does it matter if all things earthly crash? Temporal securities are vulnerable, but spiritual sureties are impregnable." Next quote. The unfailing kindness of Jesus touched the hearts of men, but his stalwart strength of character amazed his followers. He was truly sincere. There was nothing of the hypocrite in him. He was free from affectation. He was always so refreshingly genuine. He never stooped to pretense, and he never resorted to shaming. He lived the truth, even as he taught it. He was the truth. He was constrained to proclaim saving truth to his generation, even though such sincerity sometimes caused pain. He was unquestioningly loyal to all truth. Next quote. This man of Galilee was not a man of sorrows. He was a soul of gladness. Always was he saying, quote, "Rejoice and be exceedingly glad," unquote. But when duty required, he was willing to walk courageously through the valley of the shadow of death. He was gladsome, but at the same time humble. Next quote. His courage was magnificent, but he was never foolhardy. His watchword was, "Fear not." His bravery was lofty, and his courage often heroic. But his courage was linked with discretion and controlled by reason. It was courage born of faith, not the recklessness of blind presumption. He was truly brave, but never audacious. Next quote. The Master never said, quote, "Come to me, all you who are indolent and all who are dreamers," unquote. But he did many times say, quote, "Come to me, all you who labor, and I will give you rest, spiritual strength," unquote. The Master's yoke is indeed easy, but even so, he never imposes it. Every individual must take this yoke of his own free will. Next quote. Jesus spread good cheer everywhere he went. He was full of grace and truth. His associates never ceased to wonder at the gracious words that proceeded out of his mouth. You can cultivate gracefulness, but graciousness is the aroma of friendliness which emanates from a love-saturated soul. Next quote. The cross makes a supreme appeal to the best in man because it discloses one who is willing to lay down his life in the service of his fellow men. Greater love no man can have than this, that he would be willing to lay down his life for his friends. And Jesus had such a love that he was willing to lay down his life for his enemies, a love greater than any which had hitherto been known on earth. And those were just a tiny sampling of the kinds of quotes you're going to get in this podcast when the angels are talking about who Jesus was. And now the best part of the podcast for today is this. Here are quotations directly from Jesus. Some are exact quotations and some are paraphrased of what he said. But these are essentially the thoughts of Jesus in this new revelation that you are going to be able to access right after this podcast and explore countless astounding quotes from Jesus across his entire life. And of course, this whole series will explore this in depth. So here's the first one from Jesus, recorded by the angels. Peace be upon you. You rejoice to know that I am the resurrection and the life, but this will avail you nothing unless you are first born of the eternal Spirit, thereby coming to possess, by faith, the gift of eternal life. If you are the faith sons of my Father, you shall never die. You shall not perish. The gospel of the kingdom has taught you that all men are the sons of God. And this good news concerning the love of the Heavenly Father for his children on earth must be carried to all the world. Next quote from the Master. It is your faith that saves your souls. Salvation is the gift of God to all who believe they are his sons. But be not deceived. While salvation is the free gift of God and is bestowed upon all who accept it by faith, there follows the experience of bearing the fruits of this spirit life as it is lived in the flesh. Next quote from Jesus. Forget not that I will stop at nothing to restore self-respect to those who have lost it and who really desire to regain it. Next quote from the Master. I have come into the world to put love in the place of fear, joy in the place of sorrow, confidence in the place of dread, loving service and appreciative worship in the place of slavish bondage and meaningless ceremonies. Next quote from Jesus. Faith is the open door for entering into the present, perfect, and eternal love of God. Here's more profound truth from the Master. When, by living faith, you become divinely God-conscious, you are then born of the Spirit as children of light and life, even the eternal life wherewith you shall ascend the universe of universes and attain the experience of finding God the Father on paradise. Next quote from Jesus. Genuine faith will remove mountains of material difficulty which may chance to lie in the path of soul expansion and spiritual progress. Jesus gives us more profound truth in this next quote. Question not my Father's power of love, only the sincerity and reach of your faith. All things are possible to him who really believes. Next quote. Better by far to have a small but living and growing faith than to be possessed of a great intellect with its dead stores of worldly wisdom and spiritual unbelief. The Master gives us another amazing teaching. The acceptance of the doctrine of the fatherhood of God implies that you also freely accept the associated truth of the brotherhood of man. And if man is your brother, he is even more than your neighbor, whom the Father requires you to love as yourself. Next quote from Jesus. Remember, I have taught you that he who would be greatest among you should become the server of all. If you presume to exalt yourselves before God, you will certainly be humbled. But whoso truly humbles himself will surely be exalted. Next, great truth from Jesus. I tell you that even when a cup of cold water is given to a thirsty soul, the Father's messengers shall ever make record of such a service of love. Here's another wonderful quote from the Master. Love God supremely and your neighbor as yourself. And it is this supreme law of love for God and for man that I also declare to you as constituting the whole duty of man. Next quote from Jesus. You will learn to love your brethren more when you first learn to love their Father in heaven more, and after you have become truly more interested in their welfare in time and in eternity. Here's the last quote I want to share with you today, direct from Jesus. That which the world needs most to know is, men are the sons of God, and through faith they can actually realize and daily experience this ennobling truth. Profound, astounding, unprecedented. And there are scores and scores of these truths in this revelation, which you'll be able to access right after the podcast. I'm going to give you that information. Through this podcast series, again, you're going to take a look with me, a tour of the key places, events, people, just illuminated by the kinds of quotations that you and I experienced just now. Again, it's a journey for the courageous, for the adventurous, for the open-minded, for the sincere. So now, what is the source of this revelation? The source of this revelation, and I'll make it short because there are in-depth studies and books on this, but I'm going to give you a very high level of overview, and you can explore as you desire. As I said before, in the early part of the 20th century, there was a psychiatrist in the Chicago area. Someone brought him a patient, and this patient began to utter things at night and eventually write things down. Out of this process came many, many writings, and the doctor and friends of his would put together questions. These questions would be answered, and over time, an entire enormous book was written. This book is called the Urantia Book, and it answers the most essential questions about God, the universe, spiritual beings, angels, life after death, the history of the earth, and Jesus. Part 4, about Jesus, is 770 pages long, and that's what we're really going to go in depth on. Again, if you have an open mind, if you have the desire to go forward, you're going to learn a tremendous amount. This revelation, the Urantia Book, is the fifth major revelation of truth to all the peoples of the earth. And there were many before. Before Jesus, there was Melchizedek, and we can keep going back. I'm not going to get into the other ones, but there were five total revelations. It was written by angels, as I said, in the first third of the 20th century, and the book is a tremendous resource. You can get this book at your local bookstore, your favorite online retailer, and it's not expensive. It's available, I think, in ebook, in paperback, in hardback, and I think it's also available as a narrated audiobook. So it's all there for you. There's a publisher of this book, and there's a worldwide organization, which it's not really a church, but it's just more of a study group of people, various study groups who really enjoy this book. So that's the Urantia Book. And after this podcast, please watch the next video in the series, which will give you a little bit more information about it. So if you have an open mind, strap in for the most amazing revelation of truth you have probably ever experienced. I want you to please understand, my friend, you are a child of God. He is going to meet all your spiritual needs if you allow him to do that. He created that hunger in there for a reason, that hunger for growth, the hunger for a better life, the hunger for truth, the hunger for joy and all the good things life can give, the hunger to help others, the hunger to see a better world. All of these hungers can be satisfied if we are open-minded, if you are open-minded to new sources of truth and the revelations he's going to give you. You and I are always on the cusp of a life that is much more amazing and astounding than the best life we could imagine for ourselves. And as we learned from Jesus, faith is the open door to move forward. But action, courageous action, intelligent action is the way to growth. There is a better life waiting for you. So if you choose, if you go into this, you're going to feel, no matter what you're going through, whether you're dreading Monday morning, whether you're in an unhappy marriage, whether you have a substance abuse issue, whether you live in fear and physical danger, you are going to experience a good deal of peace, assurance, security, confidence, and strength, no matter what you're going through. All you need to do is accept God, use your faith, and follow him. Accept that guidance. And really, that's the whole meaning of this podcast. So please join me. We're going to go for the next episode, get into more detail into the limitations of Christianity. That's the first one. And you're going to discover the answers to the questions about Jesus and the new life that you were meant to live. So after this podcast, please watch the next video in the series, which is Jesus, an Introduction. I didn't do the video, but I'm telling you, it's a fantastic video. It was presented at the Parliament of World Religions several years ago and well received. I think you'll really enjoy it. So join me next time in the next episode, The Limitations of Christianity, the Errors and the Middlemen. Click and subscribe to be notified as new videos come out and to get the new revelation. Please give me a hand if you believe in what I'm doing. Subscribe, tell your friends, sign up on the mailing list. And please remember, you are a child of God and we are family.
Thanks for listening today. I hope it helped you on your journey. Go to findmynewlife.com for all my podcasts and much more. If you'd like to contact me with ideas or requests, use the Contact Me link on that website. I wish you the best on your spiritual journey. Remember, you are a child of God and we are family. You could claim an amazing destiny. See you next time.